Rome feared Carthage for one reason more than any other: the sea. Long before Rome learned to dominate the Mediterranean, Carthage engineered naval technology that pushed ancient shipbuilding far beyond its time. This isn't mythology, it's engineering. The Carthaginians weren't just a powerful city-state. They were a maritime machine built on trade, shipyards, and relentless innovation. Located in what is now modern-day Tunisia, their empire controlled critical sea lanes, and the backbone of that power was its navy. For centuries, they were the undisputed masters of the waves. Not because of magic, but because of a revolutionary approach to construction and design that left their rivals struggling to keep up. Carthage's secret weapon wasn't a single supership, but something far more powerful: a production system. While other powers, including early Rome, built ships one by one in a slow, artisanal process, Carthaginian shipyards operated more like a modern factory. They used a modular system, creating standardized, prefabricated parts in advance. Imagine hulls, masts, oars, and even rams all built to exact measurements and stored like inventory. When a new fleet was needed, they didn't start from scratch, they assembled it. This meant they could expand their navy on demand, replacing losses or scaling up for war with terrifying speed. Rome had access to plenty of timber and manpower, but Carthage had a production line. This industrial approach gave them an incredible strategic advantage. They could lose a battle, return to port, and seemingly conjure a new fleet out of thin air while their enemies were still felling trees. Was a logistical masterpiece that secured their control over Mediterranean trade for generations. But it wasn't just about building ships quickly, it was about building them better. In ancient naval warfare, speed and maneuverability often mattered more than raw size or brute force. Carthaginian naval architects understood this intimately. They optimized their hull designs for agility, allowing their ships to execute sharp turns and position themselves for devastating ramming attacks. Their Quinqueremes, the battleships of the day, were fitted with heavy, reinforced bronze rams designed to splinter enemy hulls below the waterline. The distribution of oarsmen was carefully balanced to ensure maximum power and synchronized strokes, turning the entire vessel into a sleek, coordinated weapon. They also favored low-profile hulls, which reduced wind resistance and made them harder to spot from a distance. Their marines weren't just passengers waiting for a fight. They were an integral part of the ship's combat system, trained for rapid boarding actions and precision strikes. Carthage didn't just build ships, they engineered integrated naval platforms designed for one purpose: to dominate the sea. This technological edge was fueled by a constant influx of information. Carthage's vast trade network was also a sprawling intelligence-gathering operation. Carthaginian captains weren't just merchants, they were observers, collectors of knowledge. As they sailed to ports in Spain, Sicily, North Africa, and the Levant, they studied everything. They learned new navigation techniques from other seafaring peoples, observed different hull designs, and gathered crucial intelligence on port layouts, defensive weaknesses, and local currents. This wasn't espionage in the modern sense, with spies and secret agents. It was a natural consequence of their commercial dominance. Every trade deal, every voyage, was an opportunity to learn and adapt. This constant feedback loop allowed them to refine their own ship designs and sailing strategies, ensuring they stayed one step ahead of their competitors. Their navy was not only well-built but also well-informed, a combination that made them a formidable force. So, how did this naval superpower finally fall? When the Punic Wars erupted, Rome was at a massive disadvantage at sea. Initially, they suffered devastating losses. But the Romans were masters of adaptation. Legend has it they captured a shipwrecked Carthaginian Quinquereme and reverse-engineered it, copying the advanced design. But simply copying the technology wasn't enough. Carthage had the superior tech and more experienced sailors. Rome, however, had overwhelming numbers and a game-changing innovation of its own: the corvus. This was a heavy boarding bridge with a spike on the end that could be dropped onto an enemy ship, locking the two vessels together. The corvus effectively neutralized Carthage's advantage in maneuverability. It turned a naval battle into a land battle on water, where Rome's disciplined and heavily armed legions excelled. Suddenly, Carthaginian seamanship meant little when Roman soldiers were swarming their decks. Carthage's technological edge began to shrink. Innovation had allowed Carthage to dominate for centuries, but it was Rome's sheer scale, industrial might, and brilliant tactical adaptation that ultimately reversed the balance of power. In the end, Carthage's incredible naval technology couldn't save it from destruction, but its legacy shaped the ancient Mediterranean long after the city itself was reduced to ruins. The principles of modular shipbuilding, the focus on fast attack vessels, and the creation of a vast maritime intelligence network forced Rome to evolve into a naval power. It's a powerful lesson in history. No single advantage, no matter how advanced, is permanent. Every empire is temporary, but great engineering leaves traces that can last forever. If you enjoyed this deep dive, let me know in the comments. Would you like to see more on naval tech from other great civilizations? Or perhaps a closer look at how Hannibal's strategies nearly broke Rome? Subscribe for more historical analysis. No filters, just facts. Thanks for watching.